Hey guys, Aaron here again. This time coming at you guys with the Harukaze, probably Kazi, 240 millimeter Origami Super Gyuto. I've had it for 2 to almost probably 3 weeks. It's stainless clad, as you can tell. Right there's the actual core steel. Honestly, for the price point, you get a lot of bang for your buck. I believe this retails for $170, which for a Origami Super actual laser knife, stainless clad, even has hand engraved kanji. If you're a fan of that, you know, I mean, there's a lot of good things going on with this knife. Comes out of the spine about 2 millimeters, and holds it pretty much until you hit the tip area. Then it just tapers down really nice into a nice, real thin grind. Since it is a laser, I don't want to go ahead and say it's probably convex. It might be a little bit, but it is a laser grind though. Let's see if we can't get a spine shot here a little bit. Not the easiest thing to do with a iPhone, but you get the idea. The edge on it from the box was, good, working, 2 to 4K edge, standard, nothing, nothing to, complain about. I finally did get to redo the edge today. I used a Shapton 1K Pro to fully reset the bevel to what I use. Only took a couple of passes, then I finished it up on a natural, what I use, a Nakayama, I forget what the name of it. It's a softer Nakayama, not a super hard one. I think it was like a level 3 with a little bit of a Chunagura for a, get a little slurry, then simple strop finish. Just a couple of times, maybe 15. And the edge right now is real sticky, to use any term. I mean, it's sharp, but it's got a good tooth to it. That's what I do like about that natural stone. At least it leaves a good amount of toothiness to it. It doesn't make it a straight razor. When I first held the knife, it actually very much reminded me of my Honyaki by Konosuke. I can't tell you why. I don't know if it's the shape of it, the lightness. It has almost that same feel on the board, if that makes any sense. Because I believe this is rock hard to 63, I believe. And I think Konosuke's blades, or Honyaki's at least, were done to 64. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. The handle's a very, very simple, I think it's an oval, it's an oval something. I forget what they use, but comfortable enough for right and left-handed users. Like I say, stainless clad, so very, very minimal upkeep. Being Origami Super, it takes a fast edge very quickly, or it takes an edge very, very quickly, I should say. And should hold it for a relatively pretty good time if you're in a pro environment or at home or such. I will note the stainless cladding of it is like kind of, I'd call it a hazy mirror finish, but as with all these mirror polish jobs, if you put on a magnet knife rack, or just daily use, you're going to get some scratches on it. So if you want to keep it like that, a couple of micro mesh or pads and such will take care of that. So, without further ado, since it is a relatively pretty fresh edge, we'll do the old tomato test. As you can see, that's pretty sharp. So, like I say, I'm not going to do the other half of the tomato just because then, kind of redundancy by then, but you'll get the gist of it, as it were. So as usual, start from this end, work all the way to this end, as many thin slices as you can possibly do, using about hopefully the same portion of the knife. In theory, that's what we're gonna do. Let's see. So that's what we got to on that portion of the blade. And I lost count, but as you can see, that's I mean, it's I wouldn't call it quite one-sided, but that's pretty damn thin. So for the overall sharpness test, as you can tell, it gets sharp. No issues there. Wasn't expecting any. And few people have actually asked me, why I don't do the whole pulley cut of a tomato test. Well, yes, in my theory at least, this is my way of thinking. That does show you, how sharp your edge is, yes, but and shows you toothiness on it, so there is a reason for it. But I prefer to actually see how sharp it's going to stay over a long haul, because you can pull cut tomato all you want, and your edge will degrade a little bit, but nowhere near as, nowhere near like I just did. If that makes sense, it might, maybe not. Okay. And I will say this knife feels a little bigger than a 240. I don't measure my knives, but it just has that feel of just a little bit like a 200, maybe 245. I could be wrong, but I mean, there is a little bit of stickage. So, like I say, I mean, it probably is a more of a flat ground knife. Yeah, you can see there's stickage to it, and that's flat ground. Yep. So, do have a little potato here just to super test this edge out, or test the theory out, but I think it's pretty safe to say it's more flat ground, which is fine. You can't really make too many lasers that have a convex, especially at, like I say, $170. The only one that would probably come closer to that is the Kohetsu Hat 40. Even that's 200. A little more thicker knife, not by a lot, but it's that one's more of a medium weight. This is a lightweight knife. And this isn't, I'm not really using a whole, lot of pressure. This is, as they always say, let the knife do the work. This is the knife doing the work. It also might be a little bit of the polish too that gives it that little slight stickage too. That can happen too on like mirror polishes, especially if it's a simple flat ground. Things will tend to stick a lot more. So convex with a mirror polish works a lot better. So for detailed work, like I say, super thin tip, a little radish. Like I say, super thin tip. This should just fly right through it. It's comfortable enough that you can move it back and forth, without it being awkward too. Then, like I say, just for kicks, we'll just so, like I say, with a thicker ground knife, it is harder. I always find to get really thinner slices. Just because I personally find that a thick chunky grind is it's gonna wedge on you and such. Like I say, that's just my my personal opinion. I could be wrong. Celery, as you know, is not always the easiest thing in the world to dice, especially if it's been sitting around a little bit and has a little bit of that tougher skin. And the reason why I'm not doing this in a one big long strip is, I'm showing you guys, I'm really, using this knife a little harder than I usually would. Usually I would just do it in one in one stalk and such, but to really guys, to show you guys how it edge holds up and such. This is this is that's how you see how good and sharp it stays. Again, if that makes sense. So as you can see, it makes it if you're doing a lot of heavy prep, this thing works really good, as you can tell, because it's light enough so you really won't get that hand fatigue, like you do with a heavier knife. But like I say, that's a preference thing. Like I say, I prefer lighter weight knives. Okay, so little potato, actually dry this off so we can really see if it's if it sticks or not. We'll see. A little bit. So, like I say, it might have a slight convexing. I'm not going to take this thing under a microscope and look at it and make sure everything. It has a little bit of stickage, of course, because, like I say, it might be because of the semi-mirror polish, and it might have a little bit of convexing. I'll let whoever is watching this and buys it come to their own conclusions. But as you can tell, that's how that worked. And to finish things up, as usual, we gotta do it. There you go, guys.